I am once again in headlines this week.
Oh, what'd you do? What'd you do?
I had a new episode and that made headlines.
Did it?
Yes.
Must have missed them.
It's on several websites. It's on Screen Rant.
Which country? Oh, okay.
America and UK this time, amazingly enough. Not China. Not yet, at least. China soon.
I'm gonna search Nate the Hate right now. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Let's see.
Probably Nathan Drake from Reset Era would be the better option to search.
Second page. Okay, I'm gonna go to third page.
So who had a bigger week while you're doing
Okay. Hold on. You might have to drop a link, Nate. Let me see.
God,
oh, wait a minute. Nate Drake. Got it.
That's why.
Yeah, you gotta go for Nate Drake.
Let me search up Nate Drake. Let's see. Go into the second page. Okay, Nate. Why don't you just tell me what you made headlines for?
I got it on the first page. Are you using Google? What are you using?
Doesn't
Bing.
everyone just use Bing or Ask Jeeves?
Yeah.
What?
We ain't doing a sponsor drop this episode, so we don't have to mention those.
I use Yahoo.
This episode is brought to you by Ask Jeeves. Do you guys remember Ask Jeeves?
I remember.
I loved Ask Jeeves.
I remember Ask Jeeves. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I used to mess around with this girl, and her boyfriend was a rapper, and his name was Jeeves. So like, whenever I'd be like, "Can you come through?" And she'd be like, "I don't know." I was like, "Oh, maybe you should ask Jeeves." She'd be like, "You're an idiot." And I was like, "You're a home wrecker, dude.
Yes.
Yes. You should like get with one of the Kardashians or something like that, bro. Goodness gracious."
Guys.
I like how no one brought up Bing at all. Like none.
And it's still
No
a thing
Bing.
too.
It is.
You know what?
is.
You should use Bing, because if you use Bing, you get reward points on your Microsoft account, and you can use those reward points to get a free month of Game Pass Ultimate.
And I'm still not using Bing.
Nope.
But you should. That's your error. I have 80,000 Microsoft points, and a month of Game Pass Ultimate is like 7,000 points. So I'm pretty set.
Does it give you more points if you use Microsoft Edge to do it?
Yes. You get 50 a day.
Okay, well,
And
Nate,
if
why
you
don't
use Bing on your phone, you get an extra 150 points a day.
Well, Nate, why
if
don't
it's
you
a
tell
Windows
us-
phone, do you get more?
I think so.
You can just stack these rewards.
You can just keep stacking them, and then if you get achievement points, when you're using your Xbox, you can earn even more points to use toward a future Microsoft purchase.
Nate, why don't you
Tell me
just tell us? Why don't you just tell us what you made headlines for?
Someone just posted it in the chat.
Did
That was on a Mexican website too.
Oh,
Level Up article discussing the possibility of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask coming to the Switch.
we
this
talked
fiscal
about that
year.
we talked about like
It
3
made
months ago.
headlines this week.
We talked about that a long time ago.
It made headlines this week.
Can I say one thing?
Okay, go ahead, Sean.
Maybe.
Are you gonna get Returnal?
No.
Okay.
Maybe when it's like $40. I don't like roguelites. I don't like games that are like, oh, look at how hard it is. Like, no. But can I say one thing about reviews?
Mhm.
People need to calm the fuck down about review scores. Jesus Christ. The whole point of a review score is review scores don't matter. Okay. At the end of the day, they don't matter. They shouldn't. Well, I should say they shouldn't matter. Of course, they do matter way too fucking much, because that's why Jeff Grubb is here, because now he's now he's villain number one. But when you have a review, read the review. Listen to the review. Don't just look for a number, an arbitrary number at the end of the review. Because if the person who is playing the game has legitimate criticisms and has legitimate issues with the game, then that is justified in their score of the game. It is just one person's opinion. On the other side of the coin, I know a lot of people are sharing that Paste magazine, I think it was, review where the person just like went into some diatribe about Democrats and xenophobia and stuff when talking about Returnal. Okay, that's a review that doesn't make fucking sense. That's a review that you could sit there and say, all right, you know what, this is a terrible review. But if the person doesn't like a game or has issues with the game and they're backing it up in their speech in their review portion of the game, you can't get mad at that. It is one person's opinion. There are people that like different things in the world. Accept it. If you don't like that review, then just be like, oh, okay, well, this review doesn't really resonate with me. This reviewer doesn't maybe like the same games that I do, and then move on to another review that makes you happy. Like it blows my mind, man. There are terrible reviews out there, but if the person's words justify their thought process and justify a said score, deal with it. Like that's it.
The number system is like really messed everything up, because it's like if it's anything less than an 8, it's like a problem for people.
And it's so frustrating, because like we switched to a 3 out of 5, or a 5-star system after being on a 100-point scale for a long time, and we wanted to get away from the 100-point scale because it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not like you can break down the 5-star system like, oh, I hate it, I don't like it, I like it, I love it, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. It makes a lot of sense, but in order for people to argue about it, like no one says 3 out of 5. No one says, oh, Jeff Grubb gave it 3 stars and I'm mad about that, because it's not very inflammatory. They have to convert it into the 60 in order to get mad about it. And whenever they do that, almost for sure they didn't read the review, because they're just looking at a screenshot that someone posted in their goddamn Discord, and they're like, oh man, he's like, and they'll highlight just the phrase where I'm like, the game was hard. Oh, too hard for him. Too hard for him.
Oh my God.
And it's like, okay. It's like, and like they're like, people get mad, like, well, Jeff, you're being pretty like curt with the people on Twitter. You're being pretty rude to them. I'm like, I can tell that they didn't read it. Like, I don't know why you want me to like waste my time pretending that this is a good faith argument. So most of the time,
you can even go further than that. Is you played the game? They haven't. Their opinion is invalid. They don't know what the game is, and they just shopped around to find a score that suits their preconceived notion of what the game is in their mind. So they went around saying, Returnal's a 9 to me. I haven't played it, but that's what I want it to be. Let me see who gave it a 9. Jeff Grubb gave it a 3 out of 5. That means he's wrong and he sucks. Based on what? What criteria did he fail to live up to in these individuals' minds? If you read the context of the review, you could walk away from it and say, all right, when I play the game, maybe I'll walk away and say his critiques were valid. I wouldn't have been as harsh as him. That's fine. Like, you had people come back to you after Cyberpunk and say, your review was spot on. I apologize for being an asshole.
That one's so fun, because it's the exact same story. I gave it a 3 out of 5. People got mad at me, and then my coworker was on Twitter like, remember the last game you gave a 3 out of 5 to, and everyone got mad at him about was Cyberpunk, and everyone's like, yeah, because it was too high. I'm like, you motherfuckers, I'm going insane.
Oh my God.
So it's a good thing, because if I did reviews, I would use the entire 10-point scale, and I'd be canceled like the next day. So 5 would be average for
Probably
me.
not, John. When you
a lot
say
of
something,
5s to be given out.
probably not, John. When you say something, it's okay. By the way,
I do
you
say
certain things, and it's okay. But if I say it, or if somebody else says it, it's like kill him. Or trust me, I've seen you say certain things, and it was okay.
I was going to test it.
People say this fanboy idiot loser, no problem.
I was going to test it today and just tweet out Returnal is worth $70 and see what happens.
You'd be okay, John. People kind of bow down when you say stuff.
Yep.